Hello and welcome to another episode of All Caps. I'm Isaac Anderson, the author of A Song of Bones in the Garden Maze. I'm joined by my host, Tim McKay, the author of The Fall of Selvandre and the upcoming, tomorrow, releasing Skyfold. And our very, very special guest is the world-famous Jesse James Fain. Welcome, Jesse. Now, are you related to Jesse James in some way, or are you just really cool?
Both. Both.
It's a little bit of both. There's some family genealogies that trace back. The issue is that and I guess we're getting into my personal stuff immediately. A lot of my family's adopted.
Okay.
So it is very difficult for me to trace a lot of my family lineage back. So if you go that direction, we do start heading out that direction genealogically. So it's possible. I doubt it.
Oh.
But honestly, the dad came, or the name came from my father. It is my name. It is on my driver's license. I did not just make that up. I have letter jackets in the closet that have Jesse James across the back of them.
Nice.
And he picked it out kind of last minute. My parents had a bet if I was going to be a boy or a girl. If I was a boy, Dad got to name me. If I was a girl, Mom would get to name me. And it was going to be Jesse one way or another. A female Jesse had raised my mother, had been her like nanny growing up, basically, through some really dark and hard times. And then Dad was like, well, if he's going to be Jesse, he needs to be Jesse James. There we went.
Which is awesome. That's you might get the prize for coolest name to come on. I think. Don't quote me for sure. I feel like I don't think you have, like, we've had some cool people, but cool names. This might be the
we haven't had a stupid name yet. As soon as some of the stupid name comes on, I'll be sure to let everyone know I think this is a stupid name. But so far, every name has been a good name.
That's going to be a
great
name.
My name was almost Ratso.
Oh no!
My dad had a bet with a friend. They were gonna name their firstborn son, whoever had a kid first, Ratso. My dad lost the bet.
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, see, I like this. This is team not at Worldcon.
Yeah, that's right. George R. R. Martin's over there.
So many
other people are over there. I guess. What happens at Worldcon? What do people do? They just walk around. They just take pictures of people.
Seems that way. Buy books or steal free books from Mike Molman, apparently.
Yeah, Mike Molman.
Yeah.
He's giving away stuff. That's really cool.
So what about Jesse? You, Jesse? Have you? I mean, I feel like we were talking, Isaac and I before. We saw pictures of you. You've sold books at like events and stuff. But have you ever gone to any of these big major book conferences like Worldcon or DragonCon or any of those kind of things?
So I did things totally ass backwards on the con circuit. So I'm a DragonCon kid. What's up, Reggie? I've been going to DragonCon now for 14 years, I want to say. Not as like a pro author. That started, my career technically only started a couple of years, not even a couple of years ago. It's been, June was a year. Nice. I've been going to DragonCon forever. So I got used to DragonCon as like my home con. I've lived around Atlanta my whole life. So with all that being said, that's what I thought of when I thought like going to the convention was Dragon. And then once I became an author, it was like, oh no, there's all these other little cons. And so I go to these little cons and I'm like, Dragon's my measure. And so it's almost uneventful not to be rude to any of these smaller cons that I attend, but when you compare it to Dragon, it's 100,000 people versus 1,000 is a big jump.
Once you've had prime rib, like microwave fish sticks just aren't as great anymore.
Okay, see, that's offensive.
I love fish sticks. They're great.
That's pretty good. Yeah. No, fair. Okay, well, so let's get into this because you said so you've been doing the author thing for what's that, a year and 2 months then, right?
Yeah, so I mean that's from pro debut. So that's from story number 1 hitting the shelf. And
what was that story?
So it's called Children of Fire. It is in Contested Landing Volume 1 from Three Ravens Publishing. It's Mill Sci-Fi.
Okay.
I feel like I have that image here. Let me make sure I get the right one. That was this one? Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So yeah, that's and I skipped Team and More because they put everybody on the cover. But I'm still I guess an honorary member of Team and More. Yeah, so this is the first baby. It's actually out for free on Substack if anybody wants to read it.
Cool.
It's already the rights and everything lapsed, and so I published it out on Substack so everybody. Yep. No, we're not gonna. We're never gonna do that. We're not gonna finish Winds of Winter. That's never gonna happen.
Rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you know what we should do? I had a really good idea. This is a really stupid, but a really good idea. So, we do a fantasy book, right? Maybe it's an anthology, but we call it Winds of Winter.
Hey, there you go.
Get it out first.
It's terrible, but it's great. Yep.
That'll
make it all dark.
Guarantee we'll get articles written about us. We'll go a little bit viral.
That'll take some people off. Yeah,
the right kind of scummy thing to do.
Yeah. You gotta make it like
about it.
Yeah. Like you got to tweak it just enough to get away with it. Is it just Winds of Winter? So adding the would probably help.
No. We do the. We even have like mountains in the background, but the mountains are shaped slightly like George's head, a little bit. We get the color scheme of the cover from an outfit he wears, and his hat is like in the chapter headings, that little drawing of his hat maybe, and we really hit it hard.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yep. I like this. I like this plan.
But none of the stories have an ending. That's the anthology, and none of the stories actually have an ending.
Okay, that's genius.
They all have cliffhanger endings. Oh my goodness, this is a really good idea.
That's like the only rule. It's the only rule for entering the anthology is your story it has to have a cliffhanger or just cut off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Ooh, this is a good idea. I can smell the potential.
Oh man. Oh, I feel like I was gonna ask a question off of that. And it's totally just gone now. But yeah, I mean, tell us more. So the story that was in this first anthology, I'm curious about this. So yeah, you still retain rights, I assume. Does it vary between anthologies? What kind of control you retain over that story? Do you submit it to? Yeah.
It hasn't for me, but my publishing journey is kind of weird. I'm technically a small press author. I have never independently published anything. It's always gone to someone. It wasn't, like Big House.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've either published with Three Ravens, Bayonet Books. I feel like I'm forgetting someone, which I shouldn't be. Those are really the main two that have published everything. I have a work coming. I'm an Alpha Merc, which is a writers group, and I'll have a work coming through Alpha Merc Press. Eventually, we're working on that now. So it's all small independent publisher stuff for me, and all of them, the contract is almost verbatim. And it's 1 year of rights. It is generally audio and written rights. There's very few that don't reserve the audio, and it's it's the publisher normally keeps half, and then they give the other half to all the authors combined. So you end up making somewhere along like 3% of when it's all said and done, depending on how many authors there are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because they have to split it evenly. Well, then, and I saw that you, I mean, you've sold some of these anthologies yourself, right, at in-person events. So how does that work? How does that work? I mean, I guess you pay up front, so then the royalties come out of what you've paid for the copies, and then you sell those. Or how does that work? Yeah, I'm genuinely curious because it's really cool to me. I love the idea of anthologies in general. I've seen them do really well, and it's a great way to get your name out there and connect with other authors, get the editing experience. We'll get into your editing experience soon. But anyways, I'm just curious.
It's not really much different than novels. You get author copies. You just get them through whoever your publisher is. You get author copies. Yeah. They have them printed out. They show up right to the door from the printer, whoever that may be. Normally, it's been Amazon for me most of the time. I get my box. I tend to order about, I don't know. My first book, I was super excited. I ordered like 30 copies, and I still have leftover copies. My family wanted a bunch of them. I gave a bunch of them away, like either through like, hey man, leave a review or, whatever. Like, but
I still have a box of My Rise of Dreska in the garage. So I get it.
You know what it's like.
I get it.
So now I order about 10. That'll get me through a con or two. And if I don't have a table, I keep a couple of the newest one in a backpack when, that's carrying all my con supplies. The only table for books I have ever done was Liberty, and I only had it for like an hour. But I did manage to sell a couple copies, which was nice. And even had some of my fellow authors come over and buy a copy, which was awesome. So it's fun for me, but I grew up with it. And I didn't grow up with it with books, but my family does Native American style beadwork. My grandmother and my mother both did. And so we would do powwows. We'd pack up all the beadwork and pack up a tent set up and go to powwow and watch the dancing and everything like that. And you've got a vendor booth right there on the edge of this big circle. And everybody walks around and checks out what you're selling. And so I, from about 12, started helping in the booth.
Wow.
And being like, oh yeah, these are 15, these are 35. That's a really nice piece. My mom put 55, 60 hours of work into that. That's like 500, just selling in person. And then I had a job where I actually sold in person. So it's not particularly difficult for me. I have a lot of background with that.
Fair.
Cool.
That's fun.
That is your wheelhouse then.
Yeah, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's part of the wheelhouse. I guess if that makes sense.
Well, what's the perfect situation then for you when it comes to selling your books?
Well, for selling, I do think that is the perfect situation.
Okay.
I mean, ideally, I'd love to be like, hey, read this, and it be some book critic, and it go viral, and I'd sell 1 million copies overnight, and I never have to worry about it again. That's the thing everybody dreams of, right? Or, for a long time, growing up in the time that I did, being, like a 90s and 2000s kid, traditional publishing still had some, I don't want to say credibility. That might be a little too dirty if I want a contract someday. But
I was going to say, don't go that far. Let's not exaggerate here, but I'm kidding.
The dream was still there of having like a traditional publishing contract. Now that dream is convoluted with agents and all kinds of nonsense, and they buy your book just so it doesn't compete with another book, and they buy your book to put on the shelf next to the one they really want to sell, and there's all kinds of just terrible nonsense going on.
Yeah.
So that dream, don't get me wrong, if somebody comes sweeping by, sure, take the book, but I'm probably never going to have an agent. Unless I get really super popular and then get an agent. But I'm never going to query to agents for them to try and sell it to the big houses. I don't write a style that's popular right now anyway. I write heavy metal and gunfire. I write stuff blowing up. I write I was telling somebody earlier today, it's 90s and 2000s Punisher Max style. I'm writing Top Cow Comics style. Beautiful, well-built women, dudes that crush people's heads, Conan the Barbarian takes the girl home. Like that's my favorite kind of thing. I get a lot of comparisons to Larry Correia sometimes. Like that's the best one I've ever gotten. Was somebody was like, "Hey, your style I like Larry's," and I was like, "Thank you," because I grew up reading him. And so I try and emulate a little bit of him, a little bit of Jim Butcher. And I don't think that, at least any time recently, maybe in another decade, unless young men's fiction does some huge, big, blow up again, that people are going to look for what I really want to write. And until you start dipping into something like, believe it or not, harem lit sells like hotcakes right now. And I could see myself, but I'll do all that under a pen name. Like that's still a pen name genre. So
right, yeah.
Well, I was going to be my question is like, would you branch off at all, or are you very much? I mean, I think you've already maybe kind of answered this, but most authors we talk to, and I think this is just the general attitude, is you can't predict the market. So write what you love and write what you want to write and what you want to read. So for you, does that mean sticking within that general niche is the wrong word, but that specific genre, or do you have branch off ideas that you're kind of working on?
I definitely have branch off ideas. So I'm working on a collaboration right now with a bunch of authors. It was a closed call. I went and grabbed everybody, and we're doing a thing that I call the Holy Diver in the Midnight Sea. And the whole purpose of the Holy Diver in the Midnight Sea is that the things like the Bermuda Triangle, the river from the realm of the gods, the green flash that sailors talk about, the thing that took, Gulliver and put him on an island, the crazy things that happen all across that transport you to strange new worlds. They're all one thing, and that's the Midnight Sea. And the Holy Diver is the bar on the edge of this little pocket dimension that they've basically made the tavern that you see in all your D&D campaigns. So you get snatched up by the Midnight Sea, and it drops you off at the Holy Diver, and you have this whole group of people from all across everywhere and every wind that are all trying to find something. The Holy Diver finds people who are seeking something. Divers are looking for something. Hi, baby. That's my lady. So basically what I'm trying to do there is I wanted to be able to write RoboCop and the magic-wielding cavemen are fighting evil Gandalf. I wanted to be able... So I have like a cyberpunk street knight who his magic wakes up one day and he's way too cybered out and his body starts rejecting all his cyberware. So the sea picks him up and he has to go find the part that doesn't exist in his world that will regulate, it's a thaumaturgic regulator, that will regulate his magic and make sure it doesn't kill him with all his cyberware.
Naturally.
And I go into all that to say, like, it's not really about the story. I hate to talk that much about one individual story, but the point being is that I love themes more than genre. So when you read my work, I will write almost every genre on the planet. But when you read my work, you're guaranteed a couple things: a sword fight, a fist fight, or a gunfight. I write fighting. I fought growing up. I trained MMA for a very long time, all the way from your basic MMA styles. Everybody trains in traditional martial arts. I come from a traditional martial arts family. My dad fell in love with jiu-jitsu in the 90s when other kids were watching in the NFL or hockey on the couch with their father. We were watching UFC 3.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be fights. I love the themes of music, poetry. I try and work Kipling into stuff. Things like that. And so there's always going to be this very heavy metal themed feel of there's conflict and inner conflict and trying to figure out where you belong in the world or what your purposes are. And I will do that in fantasy. I will do that in middle sci-fi. I'll do that with a romance story. I'm not scared of the genre, but so what bonds everything together for me is the style and the themes.
Yeah. So is Midnight Sea another anthology, or is this a novel you're working on?
Yes, both of those things. So the first thing that will probably release is an anthology. It's going to have me. It's going to have David Batterina, David Hensley, Charlie Cox, a lot of names that you guys will know.
That's a great crew already. Yeah.
Yeah, I went and pulled everybody that I was comfortable asking, and I started this about a year. Yeah, I started this a year ago. I started at LibertyCon last year, not the year we just had, but the one beforehand. I got the idea, and I started looking at people and going, "Hey, man, if I did something kind of like this, you think you'd want to do it?" And I was really blessed because I was the new kid. And I knew all of them from Discord. Most of us were on the Three Ravens Discord or whatever together. But they all were like, yeah, like, sure, man. And I was like, hey, how long of a lead do you need? And, Hensley and Batterina are always busy. They've always got something going on. And I was like, cool, I'll give you, I'll give you a year's notice. And so it should all be turned in, hopefully, at the end of this year and published Q1 next year.
Fun.
Nice.
So how long are you, like, how much are you asking from each contributor then?
Around 10,000 words.
10,000, okay.
So yeah, around 10,000 words. I was more like 15, but my story is going to be right up front, and it sets all of these things. So when you read my story and you get to the end of my story, you understand all the basic pieces. And that enables my authors to run with those pieces and not have to explain shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, lets them branch off and do their own thing, but within that framework. Yeah.
Nice. How
does so this I'm curious about this because I love the editing side of writing. I know that's a weird thing to say for an author, but I do. And so I'm curious for anthology editing, because I mean you've edited for is it just the one for now? I remember it's this one, right? And your name is on it. So was this your first time editing for an anthology, or have you done others as well?
So that's my first time as an official editor. That's my editing debut, which I'm very proud of. I love that book. I love that we got more time, that those were actually novella-length stories. They were up to like 30,000 words, which is why you see a lot less names on the cover. I don't think anybody hit 30K. What's up, Ben? I don't think anybody hit 30K, but I know we had like JT's story in that one, which JT's another Holy Diver author, I believe. I think he's going to try and get one snuck in on time. It was like 27. So it was, half of a short novel. But I had a lot of fun with it. And I think with antho editing versus novel editing, the novel has so many places for stories to branch off. And what that means is that when you look for a novel editor, you look for somebody that really helps well in participating with figuring out, keeping the story in line. As an author, at least for me, it's like, how many cool explosions can I squeeze in here? And somebody's like, hey, maybe you should keep it under 15 so the story can keep moving. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right. But with a short story, it's a lot more focused on the small little things. It's like, hey, this sentence is kind of awkward. Can we reword this? Or, hey, instead of saying, hey, we spent 5 pages on this, you say, hey, we've spent 4 paragraphs on this thing. I get it. Can we move on? Because the word count has shrunk so much. So I'm not really doing a ton of developmental editing. Everybody in this antho handed me a story that would have been fine if we just smacked it on the paper, formatted it, and shot it off, and it was off to the printer. It would have been fine. What I really had to do was go in with a fine-tooth comb and say, hey, can we tweak the pacing here just a little bit? Hey, can we, hey, there's a missing comma here. Can we maybe move this to this or instead? poor JT writes this absolutely great wrestling scene, pro wrestling. So he recreates in very. I mean, it was great. He recreates this whole pro wrestling scene with his own pro wrestlers and everything like that, and they're, like checking them down to make sure they don't bring weapons in and pulling like contraband off of him. And the wrestlers have these great personalities. But oh my God, man, the scene it was like half the story was this wrestling scene. It was your characters that are actually in the story watching the pro wrestling happen. And I had to look at him and be like, hey man, we gotta trim some of this, and can we just like make this have a little more story impact? Can you make this whole thing, wrap it around to the end and come back and tie in a little bit better? And JT was like, yeah, and it took him all 20 minutes. I mean, I sent him, we sent it back, and it was like an hour later because he had to like make a sandwich first. And he was like, done. So I was really blessed. Everybody in here wrote fantastic stories. I had a ton of fun with mine. And it's, instead of really focusing, like I said, on all those little branches, you get to help everybody with these fun little stories.
So is that kind of the plan for the Midnight Sea then too? Is it you and someone else, or just you, or what's the editing plan for Midnight Sea?
Well, so it's going to a publisher, and I have asked the publisher to clarify that my plan is the plan. I am still waiting on the publisher to confirm with me that my plan is the plan, because the plan was everybody would write it, it would all come to me, I would edit, I would make sure that there were no the word's blanking for me, when it has to match the world and
inconsistencies.
Yeah, there were no inconsistencies. There were no canon issues, and nothing that really violated the rules of the world, or nothing that, like, when you do these shared universes, you got to worry about people breaking stuff. And so everybody would send them to me. I would do all the editing. I send edits back out to the authors. The authors turn them all back in. I hand it to the publisher. The publisher puts the bow on it, formats it, and off we go to the press. That was always the intention. From my end. Now that the publisher has gotten involved, that they've basically said, yeah, we can do this, cool, let's take a look at it, I'm still waiting on details. And we'll see when we get those details. That is the danger of not doing it all myself, is I have to get other people involved and go with what they want. And I can tell you the people I'm working with are fantastic. It's just sometimes the communication takes a little bit of time.
This is great. Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm curious, is there any back and forth so between the authors as well, or is it all just through the editor? Because I'm not one of the contributors, but I'm helping edit for an anthology, and I have to be careful what I say because I don't want to spoil anything for the authors involved. But it's been really cool seeing their process where I don't think it's all, well, no, it seems like it's not a huge group, but it's big enough. But they all try to, at least I think they aim for 3 or 4 separate authors will essentially beta read each story before it gets passed to the editor, which to me has been a very cool process to watch. I'm like, oh my gosh, so these are coming out like really uniquely polished, where you can kind of see the blend of voices starting to show as authors. Anyways, it's a very cool experience. So yeah, I'm jealous. I'm genuinely like, okay, I need to maybe hop into some of this action. This is fun stuff.
Yeah. So in my experience hosting, like being the guy that said, hey, I want to do this, I try and make a group chat with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not blowing up. People aren't talking constantly. It's not all your new best friends, unless your best friends were who decided to make the antho. But it is a central space where I've had authors go, hey man, I can't think of what to do with this. And I tell people, hey, hit me up whenever. Like I keep my phone on. I'm a dad. You know, if my son calls, if his mom calls, I got to be able to pick up the phone anyway. I keep the phone on. If it's not 3 a.m., hit me up, and I will help you get through whatever. And so yeah, I've watched them help each other. I've watched them say, hey man, why don't you do this? Or hey man, I read your other story. Your style really leans into this. Do that type of character. Just make it fit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's really cool. There's this one's still in the planning stages, and this one isn't my project, but I'm going to be involved in some way. There's talk of doing a Cobra, like the Stallone movie,
Okay.
a Cobra antho that we may not be able to actually have be a Cobra antho, but that kind of character.
Fair.
It started from the Storyteller Beatdown or Storyteller Smack, whichever one it is that Batterina does. That whole crew really loved doing Arnold versus Sly. So it may be a kind of like 80s action inspired antho, and everybody has been super like locked in on, well, I'll work on this piece and you guys do that piece and we'll figure out if we can, oh, I know a guy that knows Sly, so I'll have him send a message and we'll see what he says. And like everybody's, it was an okay go moment. And so people get really excited about the group projects sometimes when you have a really good group. And I feel like I've been blessed to have really good groups.
Yeah, sounds like a fun experience. Well, I mean, yeah, and well, it's a terrible thing to say, but see, Discords, I mute almost every single one I'm part of because it can add up quickly. But you know, for the right people, no. So the one anthology I'm kind of helping out with, I'm like, okay, no, that's not on mute because it's kind of fun to hear and to get progress updates and everyone's supporting each other. And I'm like, and that's saying something because I muted like a family group chat the other day. So there are very few people who make it through that filter, but it's a fun experience when you have fellow authors grouping together and putting something out. So that's cool. Very cool to be the one spearheading that. That's got to be extra fun because it's your idea that people are branching off of.
Yeah. So. How does one find these anthologies?
Like, yeah, there's a really good question.
How do writers like know they're going on? Are like invite only? Are they hush hush behind closed doors?
Depends. 100% depends. So I've had a couple that were like that, and that mine was like that because I'm trying to find right this. This will be no shock to the authors, but if anybody's watching that actually just reads instead of writing, authors can be very possessive over their works and the control that they have. And while I wrote and made this to be a quarterly, like when I sat down and wrote the World Bible, I want to be able to do this every 3 months. I want to be able to look at all the people that I know and say, I am constantly open for Holy Diver stories. If you want to do a Holy Diver story, if you want to put your guy through the Midnight Sea, just let me know. I'm going to constantly have this call going. Because I wanted it to be a revival of Weird Tales. I wanted it to be a revival of the pulp worlds where you have Howard and Lovecraft writing each other letters and in the background and putting little bits of each other's worlds and stories into their own stories and then selling them. So I wanted it to be a revival of that. And so the reason I kind of cover all of that and say all that is that sometimes it works out that way, where you got a buddy and he comes up and he's like, hey man, do you want to, work with me on this project? And it's like, yeah, sure. But at the same time, there's tons of publishers and even websites that are devoted to open calls. And they'll put out an open call and be like, hey, we need stories of this length for this. This is the premise. And if you are paying good attention, you'll get 3 or 4 months lead time, which for a 10,000 word story is, once you're used to it, is cake. I can write a 10,000 word story in probably a week if I really want to, and then send it off for another week for my beta readers, alpha readers, whatever you want to call them, and then have it back and have it be pretty polished in a couple weeks.
Wow.
So
that's decent turnaround. I mean, yeah, it's what, 12 to 1,500 a day. That's for a 7-day week. Yeah, I mean that's not bad at all. I feel very happy when I get a good. Well, when I'm on a roll, like I kind of am right now, 1,200 to 1,500 a day, and that's a very, very good day. There was stretches when I was starting my sequel to The False Avenger. It was like 300 a day. That 300 to 500 a day was happy. Sometimes it depends what phase of the story you're in, but that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and novels are a different beast. Like that's
true.
a whole, because you have to go check back on yourself constantly. What did I name that guy? Crap. What did
what color were his eyes? Yeah.
Yeah. What color were his eyes? What caliber was that pistol? There's all the little details. So novels end up working to be a little bit of a different beast. But the beauty of the short story is I don't need a world Bible most of the time. If I go, crap, what color were their eyes? I can scroll up. And go up 4 paragraphs. Oh, blue, got it. It doesn't always work that way. I was talking with you guys about the podcast before the podcast about everything that's been going on in my life.
Yeah.
And so right now, I have a story that I've been trying to work on it for a week and a half, and it has not clicked. It didn't click until last night. So I went from writing 100 words a day because I'm just struggling to do on this. Last night, I managed to crank out 500. Like it just, but I finally figured out like, oh no, this is how I want to make this play. And this is the feel I want. And I finally found the character that like pushes stuff. And, a lot of times it's about the character that's willing to push the buttons, right? There's people that talk normal and you got that one crazy guy who's like, well, what if we threw a toaster in the bathtub? It's like, it's like everything goes to hell.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So when do you do because we were talking a bit before. I mean, yeah, like you said, life is busy. So depending on your work schedule, which I believe you'd said before was 9 to 5, right? So when is writing time for you?
So work for me right now is 3 to midnight. It changes every 3 months because I work online and we're a 24/7 like team.
Fair.
So it used to be 10 to 7, which honestly was better for a lot of things. And that's and I have Sunday, Monday off. I don't have traditional weekends either. So writing time for me is in either before work right now, or whenever I can squeeze in a moment, or right after work. I have to plan my life around work. And so I do a lot of just like, I don't watch TV. And when I say I don't watch TV, I mean, in the past year, my total hours of TV probably only total 10 hours a year.
Wow.
Yeah. The last TV series I sat down and watched all the way through was Sons of Anarchy. Like I've seen that in Game of Thrones, and that was, I haven't even finished House of the Dragon. I'm not even caught up. So I really don't
haven't started. TV. So you got me beat on that one. Yeah.
So what would be my TV and video game time? What used to be my TV and video game time? All goes to writing and editing. That's the only way I can manage to get all this done. Otherwise, I'd be so far behind, and everybody would be really mad at me.
Yeah. It's the other edge of that sword is that it's a lot of responsibility. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, we could all probably do with a little less TV.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
I say that, and there's a list of like 10 movies I want to see that I haven't seen yet that have come out in the last however many months. So
Weapons is worth watching.
Which one?
Weapons. You should see Weapons.
Yeah. I think my list right now is Sinners, Weapons, Superman and Fantastic Four, and then maybe Jurassic Park, but I honestly couldn't care less about that one. But
Sinners was fine. It was unique.
Okay, yeah.
But I would say Weapons over Sinners.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
Okay.
No. So, anyways, yes, that's the thing. See, I'm always going to lean more movies than TV. If I have the chance to watch something, give me a coherent story in one sitting if I can, or two or three, doesn't matter. But you know what I mean. I prefer the format to a show. I find it's very hard to find TV shows that don't just turn into stupid soap operas, and I hate drama so much. I like drama in the storyline sense, but the juvenile drama that you get in so many shows just drives me nuts. Yeah, the new Superman Trinity. Yeah. So, yeah, but I did push myself through with a few friends. I pushed myself through Game of Thrones back in the day.
Gotcha.
But yeah, not my cup of tea. And then I mean, of course, the ending. No one's happy about that. So. Yeah. But also, I wanted to ask something else about the editing side of anthologies, because again, like the fact that you get to spearhead this project where everyone is another author. I don't want to put them on the spot, but because they could be listening, although I think they're busy right now, might hint at it. But I know of another potential something like this happening, where an author reached out, kind of saying, "Oh, hey, would you want to, write a story in the world of this book that I wrote?" And Isaac and I were even talking about the same thing, just separately, like how, what kind of project like this has appeal? What are people willing to do? And I kind of said to this author, I was like, I haven't even read the book yet, so ask me then, like, I don't know. So that can be hard. It can be hard to recruit for a world that you've created when, your fellow authors haven't stepped in yet. So how do you go about that? How do you appeal to someone to join an anthology where it's a new experience?
Well, so I feel it was really important, and this is just my way of doing it with my one big project, right? So I talked about theme earlier. I feel like theme is really important because the fact of the matter is that almost every story that we've ever written, that humans produce, it's very hard to explain something brand new and have it be interesting, right? So, and when I say brand new, I mean a totally new concept.
Yeah.
And I can't even think of a totally new concept off the top of my head, because almost every thought that we have in our heads is based off of previous experiences, emotions, commonalities. And when you lose those commonalities, people get bored or they don't care, or they get really weirded out and it's really creepy. So what we're all doing is we're all kind of trying to tell some kind of story that takes all the pieces that we all know and love and rearranges them in a new order, smacks it all together, and makes it really cool. And that's the new piece. The new piece is we took these things and maybe we added one new concept, but the new concept is that, I read the story and it had space lizards, and now we have, space chupacabras instead. Or I just finished a story that's called War Hamster, and it was literally it ran off of Melissa had the War Master series, and everybody kept saying it wrong. JR said it wrong one time and said War Hamster, and it became War Hamster from then on out. So the only binding thing in that antho is you got to have a War Hamster somehow. So
now I'm just thinking of David Batterina's Space Capybara. So
yeah, boom boom.
Boom, that's it. Yeah.
So, but that was the only thing that has anything to do in that antho with all of our stories. So there's I wrote Mill Sci-Fi. I wrote a sequel to Children of Fire, and they're literally they're in this terrible Hoth-like frozen planet, and they're riding giant war hamsters that are battle trained, and they have energy shields and all kinds of stuff and machine guns. But there's other stories in there that are Redwall, and it's literally like a hamster is one of the characters. So you're taking this general theme, and everybody's writing stories in their style with the things that they love, and the theme is what binds everyone together. Now, for Holy Diver in the Midnight Sea, I specifically sat down to write a world that was as easy as possible to play in. So I was almost writing like a D&D.
I was gonna say D&D.
Yeah, I was almost writing like a lot. I took a lot of Shadowrun. Honestly, is what I would think would be the best, because you have the magic and the technology and the cyberpunk stuff. Um, so I was like, okay, cool. I want to write the author's manual for this Shadowrun like more magic heavy universe that lets people come in from all across the different dimensions, and do stuff like build an army to go fight hell or whatever the hell's going on. There's 8 bajillion MacGuffins. You can go steal anything. The sea will drop you off in any timeline, frame, universe, whatever. If you want to go raid Atlantis, you can do that. If you want to go to a different universe where Atlantis got sunk and the Atlantis is different and they have different tech, you can do that too. If you want to go to, Valhalla, you can go to Valhalla. There's a way now to travel across all those places. So you can pull from anywhere, anywhen, build a group of crazy characters, and go after whatever mystical MacGuffin you want to. And that's the core of a Holy Diver story, is somebody wants something, and you're either the person that wants it or you're being paid handsomely to help the person that wants it go get it. Off you go.
Yeah.
It's very open-ended, but also enough coherence that the stories will kind of fit together in an enjoyable way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find this is another thing I was thinking about on the editing side is I mean, there's only so much you can do as the editor, really, where at some point you have to let the story stand, as the author intended. So I'm curious, like, how do you maintain? It's not so much, I mean, your job as editor is hopefully to get the quality to a certain level, but is that something that goes through your mind? Is because different authors are going to be at different levels, different stages in their career as an author. You bring them in for an anthology. Some of them are going to be mind blowing, totally rock your world, and then some of them are going to be enjoyable, unique, but maybe not quite at that level. Is that a point of stress for you as an editor, where you're like, okay, what can we do to help that story get up to that level? Or do you let them do their own thing? How does that play out for you on that side of the equation?
So I would say that it is a very difficult and hard line. So because I'm putting my name on it too. Like, you're the author, this is your story, and it's your baby. But it's a baby. I'm an uncle. I'm helping you raise the baby, right? And there's certain things, I know it's your baby, but if you're going to teach that baby that, I'm leaving, because that's not in line with my life, right? That's not with my ethics. Like, I'm not going to do it. So just like anything else in life, you have to be careful who you choose your partners with. But more than that, I'll give an anecdote on this, right? So there's an author that I know is a fantastic author. And this happens to every author. I'm not trying to reflect on this person at all. But I'm doing Chaos Theory Biological Bedlam. I'm the editor on it. It's for Bayonet Books. And it's where I'm in editing right now. Like, I have all the stories, they're all together. Now I'm doing the editing. I got the submissions in, and I opened up the story from an author that I know is a good author, that is one of my peers. And I open the story up and I start reading, and my general rule, if I'm the editor and I'm making choices here, is I have to think it was a good story. I don't have to love it. I don't have to go, dude, this was the bomb. Oh my God, I'm freaking out. Oh my God, that ending. Like, none of that has to happen. Because I'm not going to love every genre. I'm not going to love every idea. I'm just simply going to have to make sure it's a good story and that I'm not bored. And boredom is a big thing for me. I don't want to feel like I'm falling asleep while I'm reading.
Hmm.
And so I open this story up and I start reading, and we're halfway through the story and we have not reached anything of consequence. Nothing terribly interesting is happening. There's this huge block from after the starting paragraph to 3/4 of the way through the story. I'm so bored, I want to hit my forehead on a wall. And I started looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I know this author is a great author. Why did this author hand me something that I feel like is crap? And then I started looking at it, and I was like, this is a really difficult concept. The thing they're trying to do is hard. And on top of that, I can see where they're trying to shoehorn in industry standard stuff that I don't actually personally care about. So this story would be much better served in a different POV. But they didn't want to write that POV because the most editors and people, they're like, no, that POV sucks. It's Steve advice. They were taking the Steve advice.
There's a proper use of Steve.
Yeah. So I literally, I sent a thing in to the people that are over me in this process. And I was like, hey, as the story is, I will not take this story. But I know this person is a fantastic writer. I've read this person's work before for my own entertainment. I know they're good. How do you want me to handle this? And thankfully, the people that are in charge at Bayonet were like, tell them. Send it back in. And so I took the email off the submission and clickety-click. And I will say 100% handled it fantastically. I was like, hey, man, I know you kick ass, but this is crap. So can we please, I'm bored to tears. In the last three pages of the story, all of a sudden you remembered how to write again. Can you please make the beginning of this match the end? And the author was like, well, I wanted to do this and that and this and that, but I was worried about this and that because Steve said, and Steve told me, and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, bro, run it your way. Go with your gut. You're the writer. Screw Steve.
Yep. And
it took, again, author could not have handled it better. I'm just absolutely grateful how well the author handled it. Clickety-clack, one day. Boom, new version's back to me. 1,000 times better. It's going in the Antho. It's a fantastic story.
That's awesome. Yeah. And how long was the piece? How long was that particular, roughly?
I want to say that was it didn't hit a full 10,000. It was maybe 9, something like that, 9,000.
Okay, so wow. That's impressive. I mean, editing can sometimes be faster, but it can also be really long. So to turn something around that length that quickly, that's awesome. That's impressive. Yeah. And yeah, like you said, that shows we're talking about a really talented writer right there. So yeah, it's kind of that's got to be fun to see. Yeah, because I've seen. Here's one thing I'll say is I have read some short stories and anthology entries from authors where I've read other stuff by them and been like, how did you go from that to this? Because this is, I think what some authors do is they experiment in these contexts, right?
It's a playground.
It doesn't always pan out. But that's part of what it's there for to a point. But you're all, like you said earlier, it's not just their name on it. It's everyone's name and it's the editor's name. So you have to balance that experimentation with still making sure it's packs a punch. It can be hard to do, but yeah. So I wonder if how much that factors in. It's just funny to see in real time.
One of the big eye-opening things for me was working with Hillbilly, the main man at Three Ravens, and we were doing double wide. It came from the trailer park one, and he called me up And he was like, "Hey man." I was like, "Hey brother, what's up?" And he goes, "What order do you want to put the stories in?" And I'm like, "I mean, I know it matters a little bit, hillbilly, but you know, fuck if I know." And he was like, "Well, we could play it this way, and we could do this and do that, and move this one here, and put this one here." And he goes, "And I really like your story, and you're the editor, so I'm thinking about like putting you in the cleanup spot." And he was like, and I was like, "Okay, well, how about this?" And so now I'm not thinking about pacing on a story level anymore. I'm thinking about pacing on across the whole anthology.
Mm-hmm.
And in my personal opinion, the anthology should run just like a book would,
Yeah.
which is the ever stepping plot line, right? We establish, and then the stakes come up, and then maybe we run with that for a little bit, and then the stakes come up again, and then maybe we run a little bit, and we just do that until we fall off and resolve the story. And so we had to talk about that. And then it was like, okay, cool. Well, reading all the stories and knowing how the pacing and everything of these individual stories, let's now line them out in this order. And I think that is what ends up screwing authors a lot. And what I mean by screwing them is that when you're especially a new author, and most short story authors are, because they're trying to find their voice, so they're doing short stories, they're trying to get used to wrapping up a plot, they're trying to build all the pieces before they tackle a novel. You send your story in, and it gets rejected. And you're like, crap, I guess it wasn't good enough. And the issue is that you were gambling on the editor's taste. You were gambling on the rules that whoever was above the editor set for the antho. You were gambling on capturing the theme while somehow also making your story unique. And you were also gambling on that you weren't writing the same major themes as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 7 gambles every time you submit into one of these things.
Yeah.
And I'll admit I'm one of those gambles. I try and be really unbiased to my personal taste. But hell, it's my antho and I'm putting my name on it. So it's got to, like,
I somewhat have your taste.
I gotta be able to speak to it. So, and then this poor new author is like, man, I guess it sucked. And they like throw it in a bin, or like don't look at it for 6 months, or don't submit it to anybody else. And the truth was that story kicked ass, but you wrote Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and so did 4 other people. And I only wanted to do 2 Killer Clown from Outer Space stories. So sorry, I picked these other 2 guys because I like the hair color of the main character more. I like the fact that he had some red in his beard, and I picked that one instead. I mean, it comes down to stuff like that times. It comes down to coin flips. I have seen coin flips. The story that's in Double Wide was submitted to Trailer Park 4, and I got to see the notes from people reading all the stories and deciding which ones they were going to use for 4. And so for that one, the notes literally said, this was a great story. That was it. Didn't get put in the anthem. Nobody said, nah, the characters suck, the plot sucks, nothing. It was like, hey, man, this was great. But when it came down to brass tacks, they just didn't take it. And they just didn't take it because it didn't fit whatever the plan was. And that's going to happen. So, like, I've been thankful that I haven't had to reject anybody, but I've only edited 2 anthos. And so that's been my grace. But if I keep being an editor, I'm going to have to give somebody out there the bad news that I couldn't take the story. And most of the time, it's not because they sent me crap. It's because it just doesn't fit.
Fair. Makes sense. I mean, it's a very, very tough call. Either way, I judging. No, I got lucky. Well, no. The writing battle competition I was judging for twice now, earlier this year, especially the second time I judged many more stories, and the format they use is you're judging 2 stories at a time, and you're just picking a winner between them. You're giving feedback to both until later rounds, but yeah, as it goes, you read through, you give feedback, and then you read the next story, you give feedback, and then you pick a winner between them. And honestly, sometimes it really is just a flip of the coin. Very rarely. Most of the time, there's something little subtle and distinct. But as the judge, you're trying to be impartial, and you're trying to keep your own taste out of it. You're trying to say, okay, which one of these genuinely is a step above based on the metrics that they've given us to judge by. But sometimes by those metrics, it's really down to a hair's difference. And you really have to make a call. And you know that on some level, it's your own, biases and tastes factoring in, which now, since there's so many stories and they're being all judged against each other multiple times, hopefully all the judges together cancel out that bias. That's the right word.
Yeah.
But when it's just you, when it's a small anthology, it's tough. It's tough to balance that out.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, we're hitting about 9 o'clock. Do you have time for maybe a little fun?
Yeah, I'm here for whatever. I'm used to working until midnight, so I probably got more time than y'all do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, fair, yeah.
If you're open for whatever, we've got whatever.
We've got whatever for you.
We've got whatever in buckets.
We always like to have a little bit of a fun game for everyone. So here's what we have for you tonight.
So we're going to play a little mini adventure. I call this one Locked Outside Your House. A mini adventure. So in this little role-playing kind of situation, you are going to be you.
Okay.
In this situation, you're locked out of your house and you got to get back inside. So let me kind of paint a picture for you. So the sun is setting. You hear crickets outside, right? You walk out to check your mailbox because you were expecting a package. You close the door behind you, go to the mailbox, there's nothing in it. You come back, you put your hand on the door, and it's very solid. And you realize, oh crap, my keys are inside. And on top of everything, you have a lasagna in the oven, and the cheese is beginning to brown, and you got to get in there before things go to pot.
Oh, man. Okay.
So, but as you're sitting there in this panic, there's a flash of light behind you, and a being steps forward. So, the previous guy died. Someone killed him off. So I have a brand new person. If you've ever seen this game before, we have a brand new person here. His name is Plebe. And Plebe says, I have notes here. What did I write? I am Plebe. Your rising anxiety sent tremors through the multiverse and have drawn me to you like a moth to a flame. Take one of these items to help you on your journey. He opens his hands, and these items float out of the blackness. You see some house keys, a 1972 Ford Pinto, and one egg. Which one do you choose?
I have to suppress a lot of smart-ass urges here.
Why?
Because
Plebe senses smart-ass urges. Please, Plebe.
Because I see a bright flash. I'm on my own home in my own property. I see a bright flash of light behind me, and somebody pops out yelling. They're probably getting shot.
Okay. What kind of firearm do you have on you?
Probably a 9mm handgun. If I have my pants on.
Okay. So do you spin around? Do you shoot Plebe?
Probably not. I probably do draw on Plebe. I probably get halfway out of the holster before I realize Plebe is not a threat.
Plebe goes, whoa.
But after I managed to realize that Plebe is just a crazy interdimensional being and not a robber or other issue or a coyote coming out of the bush, I would probably reholster and then ask him if he could explain any of these items. Like, well, Plebe, thank you for trying to help, but why? And how do you have a Pinto in your hand?
So Plebe, he comes a little closer so you can see the items, and he makes a little light so you can see clearly. The house keys are like, it's on like a little yellow ring with a green key and a red key and a blue key. They're really fat and made of plastic. The Ford Pinto is a little Hot Wheels car. It's rotating in front of you. And the egg is a regular run-of-the-mill chicken egg.
Okay. You know what? I'll take the house key.
You have chosen wisely. And Plebe it like levitates the keys towards you. You take them. They're in your hand. They are like preschool keys, like teething toys for a baby. And Plebe, he backs away and he fades from existence as he does this. And he says, "We may meet again." And he kind of fades away. And as you're standing there with your baby house keys, what do you want to do?
I want to check if I left any of the windows unlocked.
You look around. The windows are good and locked because you are a good citizen. You don't leave things open. No pies on windowsills for you. You make things very, very tip-top shape. But as you're checking windows and rattling things around, you hear a throat clear from the house next door. On the porch is your neighbor. He's kind of watching you. And you look over there, and it's Happy Herman.
Excellent.
Happy Herman is sitting on his porch. He has like a little creature in his hand. He looks at you from across the way and he says, "Oh, hello, Mr. Jesse James. I see you're enjoying the evening air. How are you?"
I'm fantastic, Herman. What do you got there?
"This is Daffodil." He holds up this little dinosaur birdie thing. It's very happy. Its eyes are very snake-like, and you could swear there is very, very reddish blood on its beak, like it had just eaten something very violently.
Oh,
and Happy Herman says, "Are you having trouble with your house?"
Seems okay. I think the house is all right.
"Are you sure you wouldn't rather your house be in a different state of matter?"
No, I think it's okay right now. It's just
sure?
I was just checking to see how solid it is.
Okay.
And it seems pretty solid.
Because it looks like you're locked out of your house is what I'm trying to say. And if you'd like to get into my backyard and cross over to your backyard, I could open my gate for you.
See,
if you could do something for me.
What would you require for that task?
Oh, a small bit of your house.
A small bit of my house.
Just a small bit of just a tiny little, about this big, bread box size of your house, maybe.
I'll keep that in mind, Herman. Thanks for offering to help.
I'm always here. And Herman kind of like, he goes back into his chair, this little chirpy bird, and he's still watching you.
Cool. I'm going to walk around to the other side of the house.
Okay. So you're walking away from Herman. You're kind of crossing to your kind of backyard. And as you turn the corner, there's a flash of light in front of you. And standing there is Plebe once again. And Plebe is like, "Hello, I'm here again. I forgot what I sounded like. Now I'm like this." And he holds up his hands. He's like, "I have something for you here. A really cool stick, a night toad, or drugs."
What does the stick look like?
It's really cool. Imagine the coolest stick ever, and it's almost that.
Okay, cool. And the night toad is...
Yes, you know how the toads get out at night? You know, they hop around in the dark.
But it's a living
at
toad?
night. If you pick it up at peas.
Excellent. Hey, perfect timing, Plebe. Can I have that stick?
Plebe hands over the stick. He's like, "It's very special. Keep it close at hand. You can use it to carry your keys, too. You can put the key ring on the stick. You know how sticks work." He hands you the stick, and he fades away into the dark. He says, "Maybe you meet again." And as you're watching him go away, you're kind of in your backyard area, and you hear some noise in your backyard. You're like, you hear coughing and gagging, and you turn the corner, and you see Derek the cleric. And Derek, he's working real hard. You've told Derek time and time again not to work so close to night around your house. He has this pump and he has this stick and he's pumping it and he's spraying pesticides on all the bad stuff in the yard. And he's coughing. He's got pesticides on his hands, on his face, and he sees you and he says, "Oh, Jesse James, good to see you. Good to see you, Jesse James. How are you?"
I'm doing fantastic. How the hell are you? Hey, give me just 1 second.
All right, I'll give you all the seconds I can spare.
Cool.
And he goes back to spraying.
I'm gonna head to the back door.
Okay. Derek, he kind of turns and he points with his stick, still spraying poison. He points to your back door. He's like, "Your back door is right there, but I put my pumping equipment right in front of it because that's where the plug is. And right as soon as I'm done with all this stuff, I can move it and you can get right inside." And he goes back to spraying poison and coughing.
Hey, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
Got a deal for you.
Tell me the deal. Tell Derek the deal.
Why don't you call it a day early? Okay. Let's just call it right now. Okay. And
right.
I've got a lasagna in the oven. And
lasagna,
we'll get all this out of the way. Yeah, we'll get all this out of the way. I'll get us in the house, and you and I will both throw down on some lasagna for dinner. I'll get you some dinner. How about that?
Derek is almost moved to tears. This has quite the effect on Derek. Derek's like, "I had this whole riddle thing planned, but I haven't been invited for lasagna since I was a child." So, yes, of course, he puts down his poison. He kind of wipes stuff off his clothes. He's still covered in poisons. He's like, "I'll move the stuff right away." So Derek, he kind of hobbles up and he starts moving all the stuff away from your front door. As he's doing this, there's another flash of light right next to you. And Plebe is here once again. And Plebe says, "Hello, Jesse James. I'm here one final time to give one final little thing. Would you like a scratch lotto ticket, a toilet plunger, or 6 eggs?"
2 handfuls.
Are the eggs like in a cart?
No, he brings out
6
extra arms behind his back, and he's got 3 eggs in each hand. He's like, "Here are the eggs. They're good, freshly laid, still warm, still have particulates on some, but you can wash that off real easy."
I'll take the eggs, please. Thank you very much.
Plebe, he hands you the eggs. He's not lying. These are good quality eggs. He puts them in your hands and he fades away into the dark and he says, "Adieu," and he goes away. And as he does, what's his name? Derek the cleric is done clearing the stuff. He opens up your screen doors like, "Come on inside. I can smell that lasagna." And as you both go inside, you see standing in front of your oven with it open and the lasagna safe on the platter is real life Jesse James.
Oh.
He says, "I hear tell you've been using my name, Jesse James."
Oh, so this is what we're doing today, huh?
"This is what we're doing today, Jesse James. I hear you make a mean lasagna." Oh my gosh.
I already know where this is going. This is what we're doing today.
Oh my. Okay, you pull out your 9mm and you unload on Jesse James. As this is happening, Jesse James, he's no stranger to gun violence. He pulls out his revolver. He starts blasting. You're all bullets are going everywhere. Derek is dead. He's on the ground full of lead. As he dies, a single tear comes out of his little eye. And he says, "To die in friendship is to die well." And he dies. You both are behind cover now. And you hear Jesse James say, "Your move, Jesse James."
Okay.
I'm going to call you Jesse James the Lesser, so we're not confused about who I'm talking about.
Well, I figure there's 2 ways we can play this. Jesse James the Greater.
Oh, I like that.
We can have a gunfight in the living room, round 2.
Mm-hmm.
Which is about as dumb as fighting in a basement.
I kind of like that idea, honestly. I'm Jesse James.
That's fair. But you ain't got to be Stonewall Jackson to know you don't want to fight in a basement. Or
I've seen that movie, actually. I know that's surprising.
Or I say, I'll reload.
Okay.
I figure we could split a lasagna
Hmm.
and then figure it out from there.
Critical question is, has anyone checked on the lasagna?
Lasagna, Jesse James has taken it out of the oven. It's on top of the oven. The oven is still on, though, so the room is getting very warm very quick. You can hear the gurgling noises of Derek the cleric's dead body as it settles behind you. And you still have a really cool stick. You have toy keys. And I think you've lost the 6 eggs. I think the 6 eggs are all over the floor. But Jesse James, he kind of peeks out behind his cover and he says, I will consider your offer of lasagna if you surrender your gun first. Oh, look at me. It's me, Jesse James. Real life Jesse James. Oh, boy. Oh, my. Oh, boy. This is a much better idea. I was doing a Dale Grubble, but now it's me. Oh, it's Jesse James.
So I will.
Jesse James brings up his guns. You kind of see, there's like a mirror in the living room. You see him getting his guns ready.
All right, fine. And I slide the keys like into the room.
He goes,
and I'm shooting right behind him.
You sucker. He reaches further. He's like, what are these? And you get him. You nail Jesse James right in the head. He goes down face first in some egg. And lasagna is saved. But as you're eating lasagna, you do hear some ruckus coming from the living room. And you peek around the corner, and a good part of your door is gone. And you see Happy Herman kind of running away into his yard. And as you're wondering what on earth is going on, the sun sets, lasagna is ready, and the story ends.
Very good.
That's great. I think that might be my favorite. That might easily. I think that is my favorite we've done so far.
Well, whenever I bring in like a historical person, they always die.
Seems to be our trend, yeah.
Mike Mulbin killed JFK when I brought in JFK. And Jesse James killed Jesse James.
I feel like we all saw that one coming, though.
I didn't see how we were going to talk that one out. If he showed up looking for me saying, you got my name, I don't think we're going to have it's because I'm a man after that same kind of heart. If I showed up because somebody had my name, well, the only way to have them not have my name is to not have them.
That's true.
So I feel like that was just preemptive self-defense.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Jesse James was going to kill you. Jesse James is out for your blood.
I have to say, thank God I carry a spare magazine.
Jesse James.
So yeah, that was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, that was
now
fun.
The question is, how do I turn that into a story?
There you go. Next anthology.
That'll be my stories that don't really have an end.
There you go. You
don't
know why he wanted your house. He wanted it for some reason. And Derek the cleric, he had a secret goal. He wanted to eat the pesticide to prove he was stronger than it. So that was one possibility. He was going to start hinting at that, but you immediately offered friendship, and that was what he wanted.
Sadly, the lead poisoning got him in the end.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, he's the cleric. Who do I call?
Mm-hmm.
That's rough. Cleric goes down first in the party.
I don't think he's a real cleric. I think he liked it rhymed with Derek.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what went down with him.
We might just have a few more pests now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Derek the cleric's alive. Maybe he'll come back in another adventure.
Oh, we're gonna be one of those. We're gonna be one of those.
I can bury him in the back garden. See what happens.
That's what he would like. Derek would have liked that. Yeah. Bury him with his pesticides.
I'm picturing like
just a bald patch in your yard forever, where Derek is buried.
See, what I'm immediately picturing is Tim Burton's Batman and Robin. The Poison Ivy origin in that, watching her fall into and all the chemicals.
Yep.
Burning a pit in the earth, and then she slowly rises out. I'm figuring this is Derek's origin story. Really, it was just disguised as a Jesse James showdown.
How Derek became a cleric of Pestilus, the anti-weed god.
There you go.
It's material there. Yeah. Oh man, that was fun. That was. Thank you for being a sport, Jesse. That was great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was like, cool. I'll just take the stick and knock a window in. Screw it. I can fix a window later. And then the back door was unlocked, and it's like, okay, never mind.
Yeah,
this is what we're doing today.
Oh yeah.
You have to throw extra wrenches because we're authors. You can't just give it. Isaac's really got his work cut out for him with this, but got to keep those twists coming. It's great.
I spent 20 minutes a day sitting down thinking that through. Like, I need to give you guys something to want. So in the past, I've used your poison. You need an antidote, or you need to get inside this thing or you'll die. But I figured locked outside your house is a pretty good problem to have with an obvious solution.
Also with lasagna about to burn.
The lasagna put me on a timer. I was like, I can only screw around with this so long.
Yeah.
Now I'm sad I didn't take the toad.
Yeah.
I would have been okay without the toad.
The night toad. I love a good night toad. One time I was outside. I was taking the dog out to use the bathroom. This is in South Carolina. And we had like this little little island in the middle of the the street. It's like a little grassy area. And I was balancing on the curb in my flip-flops, kind of, walking that line. And I'm in the dark. I'm like, and I feel this crunch beneath me, deep crunch. And I look down, there's just a toad, big old toad. And it hopped away. So I think it was okay, but I've never stepped on a toad before.
Very good.
Fun.
Night toad. That's my night toad story.
Night toad story. I think I stepped on a snake once. Yeah, I stepped on I think it was just a gardener snake. It was pretty massive thing.
I ran over a big old snake on a motorcycle one time.
Oh yeah?
I wiped out. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
It was we were on our property. This is like in the grass, right? So I'm barreling down next to the fence, and this big old snake is crossing. I run it over. I tried to avoid it, but it's long. You can't avoid it. It's like trying to avoid like a speed bump or whatever. I hit it real fast. Then I wiped out. I turned around, and it was gone. So it was after me, waiting, or dead, or
my son's mom lives in South Georgia, and I drove down to see her one time when we were still dating, and she lived down a dirt road, and the dirt roads down there, they're like a lane and a half. They're not full 2-lane roads, but they're wider than a normal 1 lane would be expected, so you can kind of figure it out when you have to pass somebody. And it's probably, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night at this point, because I had to leave after work. And I'm driving down this dirt road, and I'm driving in a Camry. So, I'm having to be real careful and pick where I'm going. And I get about, I don't know, half a mile from where I need to be. And across the road is this rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake's tail is on the edge of the right side of the road. And its head is over the halfway mark in the road. I'm talking about, this was 6 to 8 foot rattlesnake.
Dang, man.
And I was like, I don't normally like running over snakes, but I'm gonna let old Ricky either move or not. I'm just gonna keep driving. And he got out of the way in time, but that was also terrifying because that was a pretty quick rattlesnake.
Yeah. I heard,
and then I found $5.
That's great. This next story has no money. We were driving to the airport. So I'm the oldest of 9. We're a big family. We're going somewhere. And we had an early morning flight. It's like 2 a.m. We have to drive to the Dallas airport. It's like 2 hours south of us. So we had to get up really early. And we're driving down this road. We're in a big old 15-passenger van. Dad's driving. And we're barreling down this road at like 70 miles an hour. No one's around. Middle of the night. And then we see this giant white dog, walks out into the middle of the road, just right in front of the car. Dad's going so fast, he doesn't want to swerve and tip the giant freaking bus.
Yep.
So he's like, he blares on the horn, he hits the brakes, the dog stops, and just... Oh boy, we felt that.
Yep.
We didn't find any money. There was no money. The dog was gone. We didn't want to find it, and we had a flight to catch, so we just kept on going.
Yeah. It's
that's
like that
morbid.
down here. It's like that down here a lot. There's a lot of stuff. There's always I have a critter in the road at least twice a week.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple like that. I had a deer come out at like 3 a.m. and you guys know how like you slam on the brakes in a car and you're trying not to lock the brakes up, right? But when you get to the end of stopping really hard, the car like bucks forward on the suspension, right?
Yeah.
And so, no kidding you, I see this deer jump out. I slam on my brakes. I'm on this backwoods in the middle of North Georgia. I skid stop all the way to the point where the wheels stop and the car bucks forward and I hit her on the buck. Boom, and she goes skidding around, sliding all over the pavement. And of course, I'm immediately like, and that's a doe with a broken leg.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm in a really awkward spot. As we've already established from story time, I don't go anywhere without a gun. It doesn't happen. That's from growing up here. That's from experiences with my dad as a kid. My dad got carjacked when I was like 6.
Dang. Wow.
And I was in the car. So Dad pulling his .38 made all the difference there. He told that dude with the knife to go to hell, and he went to hell because Dad had a .38. Like, that's how that worked out. So I don't go anywhere without a pistol since I was 21. I got my carry permit on my 21st birthday, and that's the end of that. So now I'm in this really awkward spot because we don't have animal control in this county. So there's not anybody for me to call to come out and take care of this injured deer. And so I throw my flashers on and jump out trying to see what's going on with the deer. And I'm in this really awkward spot because if her leg is shattered from me hitting her with a car, she's not going to survive.
Yeah.
And I feel like the right thing to do would be to put her down. But I have no idea what the legality of that's going to be. Because technically I'm shooting a deer.
Yeah.
So I got lucky. I got out of the car and started to walk towards her. And the poor girl, have you ever seen somebody like in a skating rink when they don't know how to skate? That's what this deer was like. And she finally got her feet under her and shot off into the woods. And I was like, well, that just saved me a whole heap of trouble. I hope you're okay, honey. Have a good day.
Yeah.
Now I got to get my bumper fixed.
I think when I was... See, the irony is this is not even my story to tell because I slept through it, which to me is funny. But I think 8 and 12, I think. Twice I went to visit my uncle in BC, British Columbia here in Canada. So, West Coast area. But he's more essentially snug up against the Rocky Mountains was roughly where he lives. So we stopped in like Alberta, the province one over, and cross over. And I guess, so we fly from here on the eastern, side of the country, fly over, and then 3-hour drive to cross provinces and visit my uncle in the Rockies. I guess as we were driving, so I mean, not that long a flight, but for a kid who I think it was probably the first time I was ever on a plane. And we fly there, we get off. I'm tired. I fall asleep in the car as we're driving. It was a 3-hour drive, and I guess we hit. They said it was a buck, but I forget, like either deer or elk. I forget what they said. It was big. They said it was huge, and I saw the marks on the car. And I think it hit it pierced part of the windshield as far as and I slept right through it. And so I wake up and they're telling me this story about how they hit a freaking buck and it just walked away. It was fine. The car wasn't. And I slept right the heck through it. So I don't know. But unfortunately, unfortunately, the only accidents I've ever witnessed have all been just people being dumb. Luckily, like friends of mine driving one time and hydroplaned into the car ahead of us coming back from church. That was interesting. Yeah. So we had friends of ours in the car ahead of us, and we're in the car, and it was just the worst fiasco I've ever seen because the guy driving, I guess I didn't know this at the time. I just got in because I was like, oh, my friends are driving. I'm with you. Okay, let's go back, And no, this guy had borrowed the car from his friend who didn't have the proper, he shouldn't have been driving that car to begin with. And then he hydroplanes in the car ahead of us because they were speeding like crazy. And it had rained while we were at church. So it had been sunny and dry before, rained during church. So the roads are terrible. And we're going down a hill and then up and then down again and boom, so puddle, hit the puddle as the hill is going down, and there's a stop sign kind of just, so the hill gets to the bottom, smooths out for a little bit, and then there's a stop sign. We get down the hill, hydroplane, and slam right into our friends ahead of us. Luckily, everyone was okay. A little whiplash, but I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah, it was terrible. It was just it was as bad a scenario as it could have been for how many, friendships were lost because of it, because basically ruined the car that he shouldn't have been driving. It was just rough times. But I don't know. Luckily, other than that, I haven't been too many serious car incidents. In Canada, we get a lot of and here in Ontario, depending on how far out of the city you go, we've got a lot of really nice wildlife, but pretty tame overall. You won't see many of the wolves or coyotes. Some coyotes will come here in the city sometimes, but for things like deer and moose and all that, you have to go far enough really to see anything significant. Bears, but we don't have as many things that kill us as other countries. It's a beautiful place, but it's just nice. You can walk.
The land kills you up there, though.
Yeah, I mean the temperature does.
Oh yeah,
the weather does when winter comes along. Geese. There you go. Okay, yes, we have our geese. That's true. Oh man, they always leave me alone. I don't know. I will walk by on the canal here in Ottawa, and there will be throngs. I'm talking hundreds right next to me. I will just walk along. I've never been attacked by a goose.
You should instigate and see what happens. See how far your powers go.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've tested this over many, many years. But yeah, I should really press my luck one of these days just to see. Maybe I can lead them what's that movie? Anna Paquin. She was in this.
Oh, it's the flying goose
thing? Yeah, I feel like that's me.
That movie
right?
When I was a child.
Yeah. Killer Geese.
I don't know what it was called.
Yeah,
it was Killer Geese. It was called Killer Geese. That was the movie.
It was just called Killer Geese. Yeah, this is gonna bug me now. I'm gonna have to figure out what that movie was called because it was actually pretty darn good. But that's an oldie. Oh man. Anyways.
Jesse, any last things you want to plug or talk about before we call it a night?
What's coming up soonest?
Yeah.
So Warhamster is probably the next thing that's going to be out. Then Warhamster, Biological Bedlam. I'm really excited for Biological Bedlam. Not only are all the stories, they're very different in a good way, is the best way I can put it. I threw that prompt out. I got together with Bayonet, and they were like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to do an antho about? And I was like, genetic experimentation. Because George R. R. Martin wrapping this whole conversation around, had just been like the news article had just come out that he was helping fund the like direwolf genetic manipulation research.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, so we're legitimately doing Jurassic Park now, and it's like that can't go wrong in some terrible way down the line.
What is it, dire wolves and the like giant emu right?
Oh, God, please tell me they're not doing terror birds. Please tell me they're not doing terror birds.
Oh,
they're doing mammoths. And I saw a documentary the other night about those mummies in Peru that look like aliens. They're testing those. They're gonna see if they're real.
Oh, okay. But anyways, that looked like a terrible idea. And so I was like, let's write an antho about it. And I went very Jurassic Park because that's what was on my mind. But I said it in my Mill Sci-Fi universe, same universe as Children of Fire. But everybody sent me everything from like Isle of Dr. Moreau to a more Frankensteinish piece. Like there's a really wonderful variety coming up, and I'm really excited for Apex for my story. And so that will be out probably next. The novel I'm hoping to have done by October. Arc Press will take it or they won't. I can't predict that in any way, shape, or form, other than producing the best quality product that I can. If it isn't taken by Arc Press, then I will probably self-publish it. So there's a lot coming. There's 2 to 3 short story anthos that are going to have my name on them coming by the end of the year. And then Q1 will have at least one antho and hopefully the novel.
Cool.
Fun. That's awesome. I mean, yeah. So some very exciting things in store. Definitely keep us posted. You know, as these things are coming out, would be happy to chat again. And yeah, well, I mean, we'll be watching. So yeah, thank you so much, Jesse, for coming on, and everyone in the chat. I think like this blew up. I don't know if we've ever had so many people pop up in the chat, and even just viewers that have already been here tonight. It blew up right away and it hasn't stopped. So you're doing something very right, just being an awesome guy and having lots of friends in this great community. So keep doing what you're doing.
I'm trying. I feel like the more we work together, the better the product comes out. The more we'll capture parts of the market, and the easier it'll be to revive fiction for fun and not just for whatever political nonsense or money laundering that somebody needs.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, on that
gangsters, if you want to launder some money, I'll write whatever you want.
This is where it's at. Well, that and vanity. Anyways, yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we will bring back the barn. I promise.
We will bring back the barn. Yes, Jamie, it is coming back. Yeah, and Katie Carlisle, who has really gone out of his way to make this happen tonight. So cheers.
Well, KB has a really unique story that is going to be in BioBedlam. So
nice.
I'm excited to have him. I don't know if you guys know Logan Stovall.
Yes, yeah.
Logan's first published story. BioBedlam.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun.
We got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, it's fun. All these names you're mentioning, I'm like, I know these people. This is great. Yeah, so keep doing what you're doing, man. I love it. And yeah, everybody. So links will should already be in YouTube underneath, and if they're not, we'll add any that we're missing. And otherwise, follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff here on X and everywhere else. Show your support, however you can. And thank you everyone who showed up. We will see you, I believe, next week on Thursday as well. So Thursdays seem to be our thing, and I think it's working. So
Thursdays. Yeah,
Thursdays are a good night. Now you know where to find us and when. So cheers, everyone. Thank you all so much for popping in, and thank you very much, Jesse James Fain. This was an absolute